Dear graduates and guests and friends, it is my humble pleasure and great joy to introduce our student speaker, Charity Felton. Charity is a senior graduating with an elementary education degree with a focus on teaching English as a second language. She is also completing her Concordia degree with a Lutheran teaching diploma after student teaching this spring at St. Peter Lutheran School in Macomb, Michigan. Looking ahead, Charity is eager to begin her teaching career this fall at First Lutheran School in Ponca City, Oklahoma. Charity has been an active Concordia Cardinal since stepping onto our campus 4 years ago. She has served and supported her fellow students as a tutor in the Academic Resource Center and as a student worker within the School of Education. She has been an active participant in campus ministry, attending daily chapel, Tuesday night worship, and evening prayer. In addition, she has made a difference through Athletes in Action. Charity loves tennis and has played on the Concordia tennis team each of her 4 years. Always ready to be involved, Charity also started the Ultimate Frisbee Club, which I'm personally akin to because I love to do that as well, during my college days. Some of Charity's best memories centered around the opportunities to chat and just hang out with friends while enjoying meals together. I can attest to this as I was a witness to it many times. I often saw Charity eating breakfast outside on the patio on Central Campus with her friends. Her spirit, her smile, and her faith-filled hope have been evident and have certainly left a mark on this campus. Charity grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. She is joined today by her parents, Steve and Faith. In addition, her 4 brothers and other family members are watching via the live stream. Would you please join me in welcoming our student speaker, Charity Felton.
Since talking with people was one of my favorite memories of college, I guess it only makes sense that I would take advantage of this chance to speak with or to all of you once more. Welcome to you, graduates, families, faculty, staff, and administration, here to celebrate the success of the class of 2021. An extra special welcome today to the mothers and mother figures in attendance on this Mother's Day. I think that I can speak for all of us here when I say thank you, and we love you. Thank you for helping us through these past years of college by your prayers, texts, phone calls, and visits, whether once a month or multiple times each day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you, and graduates, give your mom an extra hug today. Dads, we're thankful for you too, so let's hug our dads today as well. Wow. We're here. Congratulations, we made it. We're at the end of our college years and gathered to celebrate in person. So much has been sacrificed during the 4-ish years that we have attended this university. By God's grace, we have grown through our challenges and have seen the abundance of ways He provides for us every day. As we have studied, we have learned much, perhaps including some isms. For example, maybe you learned about metabolism, skepticism, or consumerism. The isms that we have learned will benefit us as we leave here and begin our careers in the places that God calls us to. There is another ism that I want to introduce to you today, and it's one that has defined my life a lot in the past few years. It's actually an acronym, ISM, which stands for Identity, Security, and Meaning. In one of Professor Hopkins' religion classes, we read a book called The Christian Faith by Robert Kolb. The idea of trusting in God was defined as your identity, security, and meaning resting only in God. Often the temptation comes to let these 3 elements rest in worldly things, but the results of that are anxiety, worry, and insecurity. So, what does it mean to put our identity, security, and meaning in God, especially as we step into the world now as graduates? These days, our identity can be determined by a wide realm of ideas in the public eye. These ideas about our identity assault us from every side. In a moment, I'll get to the point of where our true identity comes from. You can probably guess what I'll say. But first, I want to acknowledge the challenge, even the constant struggle that our identity drags us through. When I was a kid, I remember that much of middle school revolved around what other people thought, or maybe more accurately, what I thought they thought. What did I pack in my lunch? Obviously, that affected how cool I was. If I didn't know how to pronounce a word during class, my teacher would think less of me. Now, these are lighthearted examples, and if anything, they taught me to keep moving forward. Maybe you had the same or similar thoughts when you were in middle school, or you might even still have them now. Some questions that might be going through our minds now, post-graduation, include, how am I going to make friends? What will my patients, clients, or students think of me? Am I graduating with the right degree? Well, let's hope so. Allow me this moment to encourage you. None of these questions or their answers define you. Sure, they matter. We all want friends and a career that we enjoy. But when that acceptance becomes our identity, we've lost sight of who we are. Our identity, or who we are, lies in whose we are, God's chosen children. Isaiah 43, verse 1, affirms our identity. But now, thus says the Lord, He who created you, O Jacob, He who formed you, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. This verse, written by Isaiah, tells us that we are God's children. And with the names our mothers and fathers gave us at birth, is our most important name, child of God. So there's our identity, but what's our security? We've lived the last year and a half of our college careers during a pandemic. We have not known if we would be returning to campus, playing sports, or performing for Boar's Head, concerts, or musicals. Nationally, how are we to find security living through political controversy, mask mandates, state shutdowns, social unrest, and all of the other things that affect us from day to day? Especially as college students, already unsure of what the future will hold. Well, continuing in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 2 says, When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. We will pass through waters and rivers and flames and fires. But what are they? I mean, as far as I know, none of us have walked through a parted Huron River like Moses through the Red Sea. And we made it to our college graduation, but I don't think that any of us got thrown into one of our campus bonfire pits along the way, similar to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace. I'm sure you realize that our seasoned furnaces are figurative. They are the challenges that we face and the obstacles that the devil throws in the way of our faith and life with God. At the end of this summer, I'll be leaving behind most everything and everyone I know and be moving to Oklahoma to teach. The last thing that the world says that I should be feeling is security. But whether God takes us to Oklahoma, Idaho, Maine, or Michigan, we can face these challenges. Because the security that we long for doesn't come with the location, job, or amount of money, but in the fact that God is with us. When you pass through the water, I will be with you. No matter what comes, class of 2021, we can face it because we are in God's hands, and that is where our security comes from. And our meaning? Well, what's the meaning of life? I haven't actually heard anyone ask this somewhat annoying question in a while, so maybe somebody else has already answered it. But God answers it for us too. Our worldly success, it's not our meaning. Our ultimate purpose or meaning is God's purpose for all his people, to believe in him and share that belief and love with others. Isaiah 43 verse 1 tells us that God calls us by name. When someone calls you, it's your duty to answer that call. God is calling us to leave our place as students at CUAA to a multitude of unique and awesome opportunities. This calling won't always be easy. There will be flames and rivers, remember? But we need not fear, because no matter where we go, God has given us what we need to accomplish his purpose. This ISM acronym reminds us that we live in God's hands as his children who love and serve. Living in God's hands is our security. Living as God's children is our identity. And living to serve God and others is our meaning. So as we leave this university today, we go with innumerable memories. Just thinking about some of them that I have with you graduates makes me smile. We also go trusting God. Our identity, security, and meaning are surely and certainly safe with the Creator of everything. So as we go out, let's take risks, be involved, think outside the box, and leave our comfort zones. Class of 2021, you have done great things at Concordia, and now is the time that God is calling. So let's go. Let's go and work hard and make a difference for his kingdom. Be proud of what you've done, and remember the promise that is yours in Isaiah 43, verses 1 and 2. But now, thus says the Lord, he who created you, O Jacob, he who formed you, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and the rivers, they will not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. Congratulations, class of 2021.